5 minutes ago I'm driving through Barnsley and there's a car in front of me, a load of young kids in. You know them bags that you get McDonald's in, them brown bags, whole bag, rubbish, out the window. I couldn't believe the audacity. They should be strung up. They should have the most severe penalty. Honestly, I tell you what, vote for me. And that's what would happen. And people that park in disabled bays, and even worse still, people that park on the yellow zigzags outside schools. You know what, schools are coming out and they're that lazy they need to park outside doors. And it's always like, oh yeah, I'm just nipping in. I'll not be a second, I'll not be a second. You're putting kids' lives in danger by doing that. You're a dickhead. So my daughter's school, we've got something going on there, and I'm about to write to a local MP. I'll get it sorted. They've had people come and talk to everybody about it. They've had leaflets, and they've even sent a newsletter out telling parents to stop parking on the zigzags. And then this guy come, you know, like the community support police person that can't really do all, but he were there for 2 days and he was telling all people parked there that it's dangerous, you're not supposed to do it, and I think it's illegal. Well, it is, isn't it? You get a fine apparently. You're supposed to. And so when he was there for 2 days, nobody parked there, and then he's gone now, and they're all back. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be vigilante over this because I'm not having it. My daughter goes to that school, and you're putting her life at risk as well as all the other kids with your selfishness. So I'm going to turn up with a megaphone and call you out. Definitely going to do it. I'm going to do something. I'm going to write to my local MP, well, the MP of the area where my daughter goes to school. And there's also some special cones you can get that with signs on them that say parking here endangers children's lives. So I'm going to buy some of them and I'm going to donate them to school and see if people park between them then. Then they just deserve a beating, don't they, really? They deserve to have their tyres let down or something. Anyway, sorry. Politics. Aren't you sick of politics at the moment? Bloody hell. Do you know what? I was just looking on Facebook. Oh, don't get me on about Twitter as well. I occasionally look on Twitter. And younger people, I don't know, in the 20s or whatever, 18, 19, 20, telling you who you should vote for. Telling you. It's just, it don't make sense, does it? Who do they think they are? See, that's something that winds me up. And of course, not all kids are like this, but there's so many narcissistic young people. I've been at gym today, and if they spent as much time working out, and this is lads 17, 18 year old, if they spent as much time working out as they did in Bloody Mirror, they've got no awareness at all. They're flexing in Mirror, and then the mates are commenting on the poses that they're doing. So they're doing all the poses what the professional bodybuilders do, but yet they're about 6 stone wet through. It's just narcissistic behaviour. Where else? Yeah, Twitter. I hate Twitter with a passion. It's just full. He summed it up, bloody Jeremy Clarkson. It's just full of left-wing gobshites, isn't it? They're thinking they know everything. They know more than you, who's lived through how much, but they know more. Do me head in. Anyway, sorry. That's the rant bit. So, I put a thing, as you know, on Facebook, asking for questions. Because, as you watch this, I am now with Helen on a trip, so I couldn't do a normal video to put up, and to keep the YouTube gods happy, to keep the algorithm happy, you've got to always put videos out. So I needed to do a video, so it's like a cheap video to do, just knock this up, just talk a bit of crap for a bit, and yeah, there's your video. It's a bit like the equivalent, you know, like a songwriter can't think of any words and they go la 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 la. It's like that, really. Anyway, I'm just going to do this raw and uncut. I'm saying uncut, I might have to edit bits out. I don't know what I'm doing. Discard story. I almost accidentally posted some pictures on Facebook then, which I didn't want to be posting. Not that time. you know, not that kind of photo. So let me fetch it up. I'm just going to read through them and answer them. So I might have to cut bits out because I've got, so that's the post. I don't know if you can see it. Picture of me with hair. I'll put that up because I know you want to see that. Because what made me put it up is 10 years ago, almost today, I went to Barcelona, and I'm going to Barcelona again with Helen in a few weeks. And I just thought, oh, look at me there with hair. But then some nice people have said I look better without hair. So can I sort them by oldest? I'll sort them by newest, and then, so if you've sending a message after this now, so it's like 10 to 5 on Friday, I'm sorry it's not going to get answered, but you know, I've got to draw the line somewhere. There's 138, so there's going to be a pause in this. And people have said, you never did part 2 of your Q&A last time. I'm sorry, I forgot, and I can't find it. So I'll do a proper one. And people keep saying you're going to do a live, and I daren't do a live because Helen says controversial things sometimes. She don't swear, I don't like that, but she can say stuff, and if it's live, it's there forever. Right, Lisa Clark, did all your hair rub off on the headboard? See, that's the standard of comments I get, you see. I wish it did, Lisa. It's actually not as thin as you think. I've got stuff there. Christine Marriott, your life and how you and Helen met. Oh gosh, and then that's got comments to that one. Yes, that would be good, says Diane Johns. My life, well, me and Helen met on Tinder. We did a video about us. We did it a year ago. We need to do an updated version. We met on Tinder. It's no fancy, is it? Helen says I were gaslighting her because I'd got a picture that were a bit old, but you know, you've got to, it's marketing at the end of the day, innit? It were clickbait. Tony Ryan, what about talking about Barnsley and surrounding areas and its people where you grew up, and show viewers how up and coming town is? You could become the next Sean Dooley, Barnsley, my town, just a thought. Yeah, it's a cracking place, and it's not, there's no hiding. I absolutely love Barnsley. It's a fantastic place, and the town is really up and coming. And I travel all over UK, and I'm not saying it because that's my hometown. I'm saying it because it is genuinely up and coming. I went out last night. I was trying to think, what was that? I went into Barnsley last night with some of my own mates. It's a cracking town. It's beautiful, and it's just lovely people. I don't know what else I can really say about it apart from, you know, go yourself. And there's some lovely surrounding areas, some of the countryside, and you've got like Cannon Hall and Cawthorne, little villages and lots of countryside. It's really nice, and the market's brilliant. Donna Healy, meetups would be a good idea. Loads of people would love that. Yeah, we've been asked about doing meetups, and to be honest, it freaks me out a little bit. I've talked about my anxieties and stuff in the past, and I don't know if it might trigger it all because I can come across confident now on camera and stuff, but I don't know, in a group of people it might freak me out a little bit, so I might just leg it. We've got to arrange some sort of an event. It will involve pub and alcohol and maybe fish and chips. I don't know. I've got to sort something out. But yeah, it's an idea. Steve Brown, I would like to see you talk about starting a channel and any challenges you've had, both technically and personal, e.g. the haters. By the way, I love your channel. I mean, that's a video in itself, and I might do that, starting a channel. It is really hard. I was incredibly lucky. The fact that I had a early, it's a motorbike. I had an early video that just went a little bit viral and got me a load of subscribers, so I got off to a good start. And our Becky, she started her channel. And it's not easy if you're starting a channel out. It's not easy. You need, so I've sort of give our Becky a bit of a head start there, and it gets you views. Because if you start doing videos, you'll not get any views at all. I remember when right at the beginning, I remember phoning Ellen saying, Ellen, we've had a view. The thought of somebody watching your video. Oh, and then a few days, we've had 5 views. I need to do a full video on that. There's a lot to talk about. Dealing with the haters, I talk about that. I get a lot of hate, but everybody on YouTube gets hate. Do you know what? There's some right lunatics. Fortunately, I don't really have any in my subscribers. It's always outsiders, because I can see if people are subscribed or publicly subscribed, and you see the hate, and the people that have just seen you for the first time, and they just come in and say something, and you think, what are you on, you? Who wants to be you? Why? Just horrible people. But everybody gets it. You could put a video up of a snowflake on a baby deer's eyelash and dancing fairies and the most beautiful wholesome video, little kittens, and people, oh bloody hell, ooh. Do me head in. Barbara Johnson, take Helen to Totnes. Lots of nice charity shops. Yeah, in Devon. We might go there at some point. Get to Thailand. I was asking for questions, not just telling me where to go. Julie Bruff, is that how I pronounce your name? Bruff. Sorry if I got that wrong. Very handsome. I like that from Helen. And Janet Jenkins says, put such a handsome chap. I think you need your eyes checking, love. Simon Rice, you should definitely visit Otley for a riverside walk, fish and chips. But these are not questions, these are just orders. I like Otley. I've been to Black Bull as well in Otley. What are you saying? Oh, that's not your real name, is it, Anne Summers? You are handsome. Thank you. What do you mean you were handsome? Because it's that old photo. Matthew Lovett, I was only saying to you the other week, wherever you go, I seem to go. I'm in Barcelona soon too, so he seems to be following us around. It might be my stalker. I always wanted a stalker, because you don't feel like you've landed until you've had a stalker. And then I did have one when I was like dating. It was before I met Helen, and you go on a few dates and stuff like that, and I had a proper stalker. It were a bit scary. You don't think it's going to be bad, but I thought she might murder me or something. Maxine Leaning, any funny stories from school to where you're at now? You've had an eventful life, I bet, and a few adventures along the way. Don't need to divulge anything too personal you're uncomfortable with. You make me laugh, even when you're having a bit of a whinge. So it's always entertaining. You know, me whinging, right? People take that wrong way and think, oh, I get a load of it. Most trolls that I get say, oh, you're a miserable person. And I'm not. I'm a really happy person. It's just my dry Yorkshire sense of humour. That's what I say anyway. Any stories like from school and stuff? God, that's such a long time ago. At school, I was a bit of a... I was like the Brad. I was sports, and I did a lot of sports and athletics and that type of thing. I was Chad or Brad, you know the type. But then I sort of went through a phase where I wanted to be a rapper. Genuinely got into my hip-hop music and DJing. I got into that in a big way. Yeah, I was like Eminem before Eminem come around. I can't think of any other funny stories from school. The head teacher, so what happened is I got no GCSEs, but I was quite I am a fairly bright person, but I just wasn't academic. So I took my GCSEs and I was really rebellious, and that's when I was going through my hip-hop stage, thinking I was going to be a famous rapper. So I did absolutely zero revision whatsoever, and I didn't get any. I didn't pass any. And my parents had a meeting with headmaster or deputy head or whatever, and his quote was, James has a cavalier attitude, and that has stuck with me. My dad still quotes that. I'm quite proud of that. I am a bit like that sometimes. I'm like, whatever, I've had so many jobs, mate, I can't do a normal job. I just walk out. You know, if they piss me off, I'm off. Sit there. I won't have anybody talk to me like crap. I just won't tolerate it. and like Helen, bless her, and she's far more responsible than me. And I say the same thing to her all the time. She'll come home, she'll be stressed and that, she'll be on the phone to me, she'll be like, oh, I'm so stressed, it's been such a day. I'll say, pack it in, come on, do YouTube with me. Be alright. If she said, yeah, alright, I'll think, shit, what we're going to do then? How we're going to pay bills? But yeah, I have got a cavalier attitude. Anyway, so my mum and dad had this meeting with the whoever it was, careers or something, I don't know, but they let me go in and sit something like 4 or 5 A levels, even though I'd not got any GCSEs, because they said he's a really smart lad, but if he applies himself. So I'm like, yeah, I'll apply myself, I promise I'll apply myself. And I did A levels for about 6 months, and I thought, sod this, and I packed it in. But I think what it was with me, my dad had his own business, and I were a bit of a dick, to be honest, and I always thought like I could work for my dad. So I was secure in that sense. So yeah, that's all I can think of from school. I was fairly popular. I don't know if there's any of my... I sometimes think about as my old schoolmates that have sort of seen my videos, what they'd think. People, Steve Telfer, editing video. I said I would do a video about editing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, I promise. But I'll have to put that on Patreon. I'll put it on for free, but I can't put that on YouTube because it's just far too niche to put on YouTube, and it'll not get the views, and then it affects your channel and stuff. But I will do it. It's a bit difficult to set up because you need to record the screen and everything, and I'm not sure how to do that, but I will, I promise. I'm a man of my word. I met a lady the other day who was born in England. She came to Canada when she was about 3. I told her about your wonderful programme and suggested you show your viewers a place called Shambles in York. The name has me curious. Keep on trucking. That's Anne-Marie Robert. We've been to Shambles in York. It was on... We've done 2 York videos now. We did one right at the beginning. It was like one of his first videos. And then we did it recently, went to Ivy, but we didn't really go down Shambles because it was absolutely packed. If you go at a busy time, it's just like, it's a beautiful place, the Shambles, but it's a bit shit. Excuse me. It's full of Japanese tourists, and it's full of, so all these shops have popped up just to sell them absolute crap. The people queue to buy ghosts. You can buy ghosts in a jar. They're rubbing their hands together. Can you imagine? Why? And it's all like, what's that programme? Harry Potter. It don't make sense. It don't interest me at Shambles. It is a beautiful place, but you know, there's lots of little streets like that. I'm gonna have to pause because I need a drink. Sorry about that. That's better. Sam Winthrop, love Barcelona. Me and my partner went for my birthday last year. So there's quite a few comments saying how much they love Barcelona, and I've been to Barcelona. In fact, the other person that was asking for a story, I've got one. They come back to me, you see. I've been to Barcelona twice. I went 11 years ago and 10 years ago, because that picture I put up 10 years ago in Barcelona, that was with one of my exes. But before that, I was in the pub in Barnsley. I was in the old number 7 in Barnsley with my mate, and we were talking about he'd just been away on his own. And he says it was the best thing he'd ever done. It was like right liberating to go away by himself. And I'd had a few beers, and I don't know, I must have worked for myself or whatever, but I weren't working at the time, or must have been on holiday or something, because I decided in the pub after several beers that I was going to book a flight there and then, and I booked one for the next day to fly to Madrid. And I flew to Madrid, and I had 2 days in Madrid, and then I got the train to Barcelona, where I spent 4 or 5 days on my own in Barcelona. Absolutely loved it, I really did, and that's why I went back again the year after. It's an amazing place. My sister Becky, she's been a few times, and she's just been again recently, and she says, oh, it didn't feel the same. And I've heard a lot of that, people, you know, with pickpockets and stuff, but we'll see what it's like. If it's fantastic, we'll stay a couple of days. So what we're doing on this trip, that's something I need to tell you. I said in an earlier video that we've got 10 days and we're going to south of England, then Helen has to go back to work for a week, then we've got a week and we're going to Spain. However, we've realised that the second week that she's got the holiday is during the school holidays. So it's much cheaper for us to go to Spain in the 10 days, and we're going to travel around Spain, and then we'll have a week back, whatever, while Han's at work, and then we're going to do the south of England in that week. So we've just mixed them round. The plan is to go to Seville. I would love to go into, I'm going to call it Granada. I want to go there, but then somebody says to me, don't go to Seville in July. It's the hottest city in Europe, and it is painfully hot, and I'm not right good in real heat. It's going to be too hot for me probably in Barcelona. But we've got 10 days. We might do a couple of days in Barcelona. There's a bar I want to go to. There's a couple of bars I want to go to, famous. There's a seafood place. We might go to Picasso Gallery, look at the architecture, just usual stuff. And then we're going to go to a few other places, and we're going to do it when we're there. We're going to just wing it. So we'll just sit in a bar and think, right, where do we want to go? And yes, this will trigger a few people. We will be having a couple of days in Benidorm, because Benidorm is our spiritual home. We love it. We might not even vlog, but then we probably will. The thing is with Benidorm, everybody in the world is doing Benidorm vlogs because it gets good views, but what they don't realise is it don't really earn you much money for some reason. You don't really earn out on Benidorm vlogs. Come to Newcastle, says Debbie Debs. We're here on holiday. Well, we love Newcastle, and I hope you have a great holiday. We'll definitely go back there. My wife likes you without hair, says Adrian Francis. Thank you very much to your wife. Carl Cassidy, you have to visit the musical fountains. That'll be in Barcelona, won't it? David Paul, have you ever been to the United States? Will you ever consider coming to the US to do some vlogs over here, across the pond, as they say? If you ever get a chance, we have this humongous hole in the ground here in Arizona called the Grand Canyon. Well, David, I don't know if I should. We are going to America. I don't know if I weren't going to say that, but we're going to America at the end of the year, and we've got a massive trip around America planned. We've just got to iron out a few details. It's a sponsored arrangement. So, you know, when you get a bit of stick for people, oh, you shouldn't have sponsored videos. Well, they pay for us to make videos to hopefully entertain you. So, you know, so what, we just talk about a company for a little bit. It's a win-win. You support that company, and we only promote companies that we like, but it gives us opportunity. We're doing one next week. We're doing something really posh. I've got an idea for a new series called Helen and James Do Posh Stuff. And it's something that I want to do. There's a few things I want to do, and I can't tell you what these are because I don't want people to nick me ideas. I can't afford to do it like that. But then you've got companies that want to sponsor you. So you say, I'll tell you what, you pay for that and we'll promote you. And that's what we're doing next week. And we're going to have a really good time. And you're going to hopefully get a funny video. Win-win. So as I was saying, David, yes, America, absolutely 100% Arizona as well. It's one of the places I would love to go to. I've been to America a few times in a previous life. I've been to Florida, to Disney World quite a few times. I might talk about my previous life. I used to have quite a fairly successful-ish business. Do you know what I mean? So I did go to Florida a few times. I did, you know, I was all right off. I was a dickhead though, so I lost it all. I lost everything, even my house. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because it makes you humble when you go through something like that. Anyway, and that's another story. Steve Garnham, your marriage to Helen. And Carol has put his third marriage, just lived together. Yeah, so I've been married twice before. It's not as bad as you think. And Helen's been married. And Helen's situation is a bit delicate. I can't talk about it. It's not my place to talk about. But my situation is, I got married at like 21 to my childhood sweetheart. You know when you're young kids and you're playing at adults? Well, we did that, and we just sort of grew apart. I mean, she dumped me though, she buggered off. But I'm still friends with her on Facebook, and I'd see her every now and then, and I wish her all the best, and she's engaged again now and everything, and no issues there whatsoever. But then she sort of broke my heart at the time when she left me. I was 27, and I went, because she was like my first sort of girlfriend. I'd never done that lads thing, you know, partying, magaluf and all that. So when I found myself single then at 27, fortunately a lot of my mates were still single, so we did all the old lad thing. But then I met my second wife, and I married her on rebound, and it was a massive mistake. Yeah, I'm not going to wash my dirty linen in public, but that was a big mistake. And then I've had other sort of long-term relationships. Get yourself to Malaga, beautiful. Well, we might do, Alan. Barcelona is my favourite city. That's from Carol. Somebody's saying about they want to see. I mentioned in Skeggy that I flirted with a little bit of modelling when I was about 20, so, and I have got photos. They're embarrassingly bad. Unfortunately, I've not got big photos. You used to have what it called a head sheet or something, and you'd have like a sheet with probably 30 pictures, little pictures, what they'd all took. I've got that, and I might show you some of them. Sandra Lockley, you still look gorgeous, James. Thank you very much. I'm feeling a bit crap recently as well, but I've had some really nice comments. Thank you. Francis Clark, anything other than Yorkshire, please. Oh, she's not a Yorkshire fan. James, is it possible for you and Helen to do Q&As in a relaxed atmosphere? Yeah, we need to do a Q&A. We've got to do it. We've got to get on with it. I just need to learn how to do it and get over my fear of Helen saying something very controversial. This is heavy. Austin Massey, tell us about the struggles of divorce and the effects it has on us dads that have to jump through hoops when we want to see our kids. I used to spiral into depression just at the thought of picking my kids up and still suffer anxiety 15 years on. And I think I noticed it happening to you a few weeks back. Don't let that get you down. Well, thanks for that, mate, and I appreciate. I mean, I'm all right now, so I don't know. A few weeks back, I've had a lot of problems with. I've got 2 kids, two previous relationships. You'll have heard me talk about my son. I'm not going to go into a lot of details about my son. So it's been a big cause of mental issues for me, and depression and anxiety. And I had my son with my second wife, who I said was a bit of a rebound thing, and I made a video about it, because I wasn't seeing him, and that was a year ago. You'll find it on my channel, saying how much I miss him, and I've not seen him since that video. And it's not through the want of lack of trying. It's absolutely, it broke my heart. I love him so much, it's hard to explain how much I love him, but he's 19 and he's decided he doesn't want anything to do with me. Now, people are going to say there's no smoke without fire. I know they would, because I'd say the same, but I genuinely say this from the bottom of my heart. I don't know what I've done wrong. He's don't have anything to do with his grandma and granddad. He was incredibly close to his grandma, especially his grandma. He doesn't have anything to do with his sister or his cousin, who he was close to. None of his family. He's disowned us all, so much so that he's now changed his surname from mine to his mum's maiden name. I know what's happened, everybody knows what's happened, but you've got to understand, on YouTube I can't start talking about it. He's a vulnerable, he's 19, but he's got autism, and you see, when I split up with his mum, I had to go to court to be able to see him, and I got a court order, and the moment he turned 18, boom, it ended, so I'll never see him. And he won't tell me why. I can't speak to him, I'm blocked on everything. So yeah, I've been through it, mate. I know what that's like, and I've been through court processes. I even went through it with my daughter, but I get on really well with my daughter's mum now. It's like when you split up, there's so much stress and emotions, and it were basically, I don't know if she thought I was going to go away and not want to see my own daughter. I think she wanted it to herself, sort of thing, and that were never going to happen. So I went to a court process, and as I said, we get on now. You know, I could hold on to the bitterness, and that's one thing I've learned, is to not be bitter about stuff and to forgive people and not carry all that bloody burden with you, and try and understand other people's points of views and stuff. Now, I've got to say that it's not just women. There's a lot of men that are crap. I used to have a mate that were like that. He had a daughter, he had a beautiful daughter to a girl, and he didn't want to see his own daughter, and I'm sorry, I didn't want to talk to do with him. I couldn't register with it that you'd have a child and you won't want to support your own child. And to not want to even see your own child, that don't make sense. But the worst thing anybody could do is, it's when people, you know, parental alienation, and people use the child to get, because they're bitter towards their ex, so they use the child. So if you're going through that, mate, I'm so sorry. If you want to send me a private message, we can have a chat, because I know what it's like. Sorry for getting deep. I might edit that out, yeah, I don't know. I hope I get some light-hearted stuff now. Dino Fenton, I remember when I had hair as well. Have a great weekend, chat about future videos, what's up and coming. Well, I've talked a bit about that. This week, as you're watching this now, we've gone to Hereford to see Helen's brother, Scott. He's been in one of my earlier videos. It's his birthday, so we're spending a bit of time with him. And then on Sunday, I'm thinking we might go. Helen says, why don't we just go around Hereford? I says, well, let's go to like Ironbridge or somewhere like that. I don't know. It's up to Helen, she's boss. So we've got that. Next week, we've got something really posh coming up, which is, fingers crossed, that's going to be good. Then it'll be probably a couple of more solo vlogs with me going to places, seaside towns or whatever. Then it's going to be 10 days in Spain. I'm going to do loads of vlogging from Spain. Then some more solo stuff. Then south of England. And hopefully, fingers crossed, the USA later in the year. David Clark, your favourite places and why? There's so many good places. Well, obviously, Benidorm. I love Benidorm, I just love it. I don't know why, and I don't think you know unless you've been. I love it. But people think there's such snobbery about Benidorm, and it drives me up the wall. Oh, I wouldn't be seen dead. And like I did that video with my sister, because that's what she was like, I wouldn't be seen dead. But it's actually quite beautiful in places. You don't have to go to a mad bit, that's just a little area. It's like saying, it's like if there's a mad bit, it's like Newcastle, fantastic city, and there's an area like which is a bit chaotic with nightclubs. You don't tar the whole city because of that place. So yeah, I love Newcastle as well. Absolutely love Liverpool. I don't know, I don't know if I'd been to Liverpool, and I'll be honest here, and people kept saying, go to Liverpool, and it just didn't appeal to me, and I don't know why it didn't. I just thought, it's just a big city, isn't it? I'm not bothered. I like my seaside towns and stuff, it doesn't interest me. But we went, that first time we went, we had such a good time, and we've been a couple of times since, and we're going to go again because we love it. The people are so friendly, and there's some fantastic pubs, and there's so much to do. What other places do I like? You know, I love Bridlington, but that's just because that's where I sort of grew up going every year. I love East Coast, Shrewsbury, Ludlow were beautiful, really liked Ludlow, and we joked that we'd like to live there one day. Hull, I couldn't believe Hull, because you never think, oh, Hull's going to be nice, and you just don't think out of it, do you really? Hull, it's just Hull, but it's really, really good, it's Hull. It's a beautiful, there's such nice architecture, and there's lovely bars and independent places. Really liked Hull. Just going to pause while I have a drink. And you're back in the room. Deborah Mercer says, a lookalike Vincent Price, very dashing. Who's Vincent Price? Is he an old actor? I'm sure he's a handsome man about town. Stephen Laverty, anything apart from politics or football, I'm fed up of both. Absolutely, mate. I am sick to death of bloody politics. I can't be arsed with it. I really can't. They don't care. They're all career politicians now. Let me turn that round a bit. They're just interested in themselves. Is that reflecting? I'm trying to... I've got my screen here and I don't know what it's... How's my beard look, by the way? Because I've been putting that like shampoo on that darkens it. I hope I don't look ridiculous. I've got light reflecting off my glasses and it's distracting me. I'm just going to fiddle with camera a sec. I can't get... You're going to have to just put up with it. I don't know how bad it looks on the screen, but I've only got a little screen here, so I can just see these like glowing eyes. It looks weird. I'm thinking of getting contact lenses. Have anybody done contact lenses? I might try them. So yeah, he said, Stephen, anything apart from politics. Can't be doing with politicians. They're all in it for themselves. The majority of them are. And football. I mean, I'm not interested in football anymore. They're all prima donnas. They're all in the money and everything that's ruined it. I can't be doing with it. And our hardcore football, I used to follow my team home and away. And I'm not even bothered about England and everything at the moment. Someday, Mark Vodden, a lovely part of the world. His son lives there in Barcelona. Mike Kelly, you should finish off the Q&A that you started and said you was going to do in part 2. Yeah, I know. I ballsed it up, didn't I? I did that. I was going to do a Q&A and then I copied all the questions into like a spreadsheet thing, and I did first part, completely forgot about it, and then I can't find second part. Sorry, I am sorry. I'll do another Q&A. I'll do one with Helen. Can I say, oh, by the way, if you're still watching at this point, thank you so much. I've still got loads to get through, so you're in it for a long haul. But please subscribe. Please, I'm begging you. Do you like talking videos? Do you like me to talk? I think talking videos you can have on in car as you're driving and stuff. If you like it and you want more, I mean, do you want rants? I can do rants. The guy there that said don't do politics, do you want me to do politics? I do have opinions on things. Helen says do not do politics. I can have quite... I've got opinions. Wayne's asked how I met Helly Bobs, like I answered that earlier. On t internet. Oh, Sasha, sorry, I can't put my teeth in. Sasha Louise, I think I met you in Asda, didn't I? Is that you? I can't tell. An update on the anti-grey shampoo. Oh yes, it is. So you've got some of this same shampoo for your other half, and you're saying it works a treat. It does, doesn't it? It looks all right, but I don't know if it's... Looks silly. I don't know. Alistair Hamilton is put, just start a rant, it will lead somewhere. Yeah. I think of stuff. It's hard to think of it like now, but there's stuff all the time that winds me up, and I ought to I'm going to start writing it down, and then if you want rants, I can do it. Sean Merrills, a Barnsley lad stuck for words. Never. Like the lad said earlier, tell us how you started, plus the pitfalls, and keep up the good work. Talk about anything but politics. Yeah, that's John. When are you doing the editing video, Chris? I am going to do it. It's going to go on Patreon. It's going to be free, so you've got, you know, you can see it for now with no ads in and stuff like that, but it's going to take a bit of doing. You should do a live stream. That's Kirk. Yeah, we will. I just put it off. Marie Lee, have you fulfilled your young dreams, or have they changed? Bigger van, would you live abroad? If so, where? You and Helen, retirement plans, working towards future goals, etc. Good questions, them. Well, my young dreams was to be a rapper, and I've not fulfilled that. So they have changed. I no longer want to be a rapper. Bigger van, absolutely. I am going to... Honest thing about van, I can't afford one. I can't afford a big van. I don't know if I touched on earlier saying I used to have a decent business. With me, you'll get complete honesty. I had a business, all went tits up, lost everything, it left me. I didn't go bankrupt. I was almost bankrupt, but I managed to fight it off. But I was left with really bad credit. And that's just about all gone. It goes off your credit file after a set amount of time. And my credit is just about back to normal, almost there. So what does it mean about a van? Well, I'm thinking I might be able to finance a van at the end of the year. And I might get a motorhome, a decent one, because at the end of the day I don't have a mortgage or anything like that. I don't really have any outgoings, so it's technically my house, isn't it? So I'm just waiting to end it year. If I can't finance it, I'll just have to buy a bigger van and fit it myself. But I don't want to fit it myself now. I'd rather buy one that's sort of done, but then make all my own modifications. I just don't have time. Would you live abroad? I would love to live abroad, because I think the way this country's going, you see, and get me onto politics and you don't want me to do, but I would love to. The problem I've got is I've got my daughter to my ex, and she's got another daughter to another. Oh, it's so complicated, and obviously I'd want to take my daughter with me, which I can't just take my daughter and leave her mother here. It's so complicated. Then there's my mum and dad and my sister and everything. I would do if it were feasible. Mine and Helen's retirement plans just be like caravanning and motorhoming and all that, and travelling. Jeff is left his brolly in McDonald's on La Ramblas about 8 years ago. Can I pick it up? I'll call him, mate, and see if it's there for you. Talk about what it means to be a proud Yorkshire and how we are proper folk. Philip Winter. Well, we are the Yorkshire. What, Yorkshire? Yeah, not Barnsley. Yorkshire people are ace, but do you know what? We all say that wherever we're from, and ace people are everywhere. People are just people. You know, I know that's me sitting. I'm so proud of being a Yorkshireman, but then if I were a Scouse, I'd be saying I'm proud to be Scouse. If I were a Geordie, I'd be saying same. If I were a Cockney, for all these places, and we've just met lovely people. I know some Yorkshire people that are bloody miserable. There's good and bad everywhere. But it is a beautiful county, there's no doubt about it. John Bailey, Barcelona is an amazing city. Recommend open top buses, you can jump on and off, and he sent me a photograph. Thank you, John. Lee Martin, do a day in the life of a fly on the wall, hope you're keeping well. I've thought about doing a day in the life video, but it's just me sitting back at van on computer and then going to say dentist or going to supermarket, or I don't know, I just think it'd be so boring. I'd have to have at least a few things planned on that day. David Sterica, is that right? My, what a handsome chap. Well, thank you, David. Nick Prince, you look very similar to that bald-headed guy who does YouTube videos. I know you're talking about, he's one cool mofo. Kevin Wiley, talk about your love of motorbikes, screaming kids and yappy bloody dogs. Yeah, bloody motorbikes, chuff, you know. I think you'll realise that's a bit of banter now, don't you? Because every time I seem to be filming something and just about to say something interesting, or what I think's interesting, a bloody motorbike comes past. And then I talked about, it's not a motorbike, but that guy with a car that used to live near me with a stupid exhaust. I think them exhausts, you know them stupid exhausts on cars, they should be banned. Yeah, what do you think of that? He used to wake me up at 5 AM every bloody morning, him. So that's why I love kids. Oh, where did we go? Oh, this was something I went out with, you know, when you're doing kids stuff, I love it, and I love it when my daughter's amazing and we're really close, but there's certain pubs that kids shouldn't be allowed in, and I were in a real ale boozer with my best mate the other week, and we're having a day session. I filmed that, and I've never put it on because footage is a bit crap because I got settings wrong on camera. If you want to see it, just say, I might put it on Patreon as well, but because it is a bit niche, it's just me and my mates at the pub getting drunk. And what were I saying? Yeah, so we're in a real ale boozer with blokes, foul language and stuff like, not us, but you know what it's like, that environment. And a family coming with Tarquins, you know, really posh kids. And they're climbing up chairs on back of us, and we were like, it were really, really, you know, it pissed us off, to be honest. We got a huff on, we did some tutting, I'm telling you. I'm lost. And dogs, I love dogs as well, but that pub up in North East, where were it that? Were it sea houses? 17 dogs, right, in one pub? And it weren't that, as I said, I love dogs, but not like when they're running round. Not everybody loves dogs. I do love dogs, but then some people that have got dogs, they think, oh, you love our dog. And it's like saying with kids, oh, look at my kid. We're not interested. Anna. But you handsome thing, you don't look much different, to be honest. You're aging well, James. Well, thank you. Hey, it's doing me good, all this making me feel good, isn't it? Matt Winstone, how you feel about how your life has gone compared to what your hopes, expectations were when you were late teens, early 20s, and where you see yourself in 10 years time, back in bricks and mortar, still vlogging, married, all the best, mate. To you both, keep the videos coming. Do you know what? I'm very philosophical, as you all know. I talk about my Stoic philosophy, and I wouldn't change a thing about my life. I absolutely love my life. I do have sort of regrets, I guess, but I wouldn't change anything, because I'd change the situation with my son, obviously, but other than that, everything else that's happened, good and bad, it's made me who I am today. That's the way I look at it. In my early 20s, as I said, I was just like a bit wild. I was into all my rap music and that, so I didn't know what I wanted to do. Where do I see myself in 10 years, and will we have a house? We'll buy a house at some point, me and Helen together. When her kids are a bit older, we'll buy a house, and it'll probably be somewhere rural, but we will definitely still do like van life. Hopefully we'll have the money to have a house and a motorhome as well, but you never know. If my YouTube channel gets big enough. Stephen Beese, hey up James, just had fish and chips at Trenchers, lovely, keep it. That's not a question, but I'm glad you had nice fish and chips. Rob Crooks, how you plan your adventures and best ways to book trips at low cost. We do a lot of winging it, we don't really put much planning in, and when we go to Spain, I'm going to book the flights into Barcelona. I mean, that might even change if something comes up cheap to Madrid or something. I'll change it. I usually book everything last minute. We'll book the first night in the hotel, and then everything, it'll just be me and Helen sat outside a bar with a cold beer saying, right, where do you want to go tomorrow? And then we'll go on phones and we'll book something. So that's how we do it. For low cost, I always use a website or an app called Skyscanner for flights. You get cheapest flights on there. That's a good website. And then for hotels, I always use either booking.com or hotels.com, and I compare them both. There's others, Kayak as well, is it? But I use mainly Booking and hotels, and I'll just book them through them, and you get like loyalty points as well. Pat Dugmore Woolsey, talk about your dreams for the future, where you'd like to live, countries you'd like to visit, and what you're hoping your wedding will be like. We ain't getting much, you know. It's Helen that's not in a rush to get married. I would do. I like wedding cake. What can I say? Dreams for the future, just to be healthy and have a wonderful, close relationship with my daughter, and I would love my son to get in touch with me, and we can sort our relationship out. Countries I'd like to visit: Japan. I'd love to go to Japan. I'd like to do it Far East, Australia. I've done quite a bit of America, and like I said, we're going back. Argentina, I'd like to go there. South America. Dave Hargreaves, like your sister, tell us about previous jobs from school to whenever interesting. To whenever interesting to the followers like me. So previous jobs I had, my very first job was in Shoe City. Lacing shoes up in back room. Lasted about a week. Most of my jobs I last about a week, and then I tell them to piss off and leave when managers talk down to me. I had to go at car trade. Hated that because you have to work at weekends. Just hated that environment. And it was like one of them dodgy garages that are a bit, you know, high APRs and all that, and I didn't like that. What else have I done? Market trader, loved market trade, being a market trader, ain't good money doing that. I sold furniture on market. I had a huge van and a big massive walk-in stall with all fancy furniture, and it were all like, do you remember like when TV cabinets were in them, mahogany TV cabinets and corner units and coffee tables and chairs before all IKEA stuff come out? I used to do really well with that. Excuse me. My main business was I had a mortgage company. I worked in financial services. I'm a qualified mortgage advisor. It was different back then when I did it. It's funny how I got into that. I did door-to-door sales, I did gas and electricity, I worked for YEB, and then it became Npower, and I got promoted to area manager, and I had a team. And my team, I got on with them right well, but they kept saying, oh, you're like David Brent. I thought that were a compliment, because I was like, they're my team. And I was doing door-to-door, and then I started, a company come to us and they said, right, as you're going around door to door, there's a new company here, and if you knock on council estates and ask people if they're interested in buying the council house, and we'll give you £15 a lead. And that's what I did. And a lot of people were interested in buying their house back then, and I was getting 15 quid, and then this company would send somebody out to advise them and maybe try and sell them a mortgage or whatever. Different times back then, you can't really do that now, and it's a bit, isn't it? But what happened is I found out that this lead company were then selling the leads on to another company, and as I was saying, I was getting £15 a lead, and I would go and I would do 10 in like an hour, and me then being a lazy son, I've got me 10, I'm going home. And I think I'm earning £150 a day, this is brilliant. But I thought there's more money to be made in this, so I contacted some mortgage companies and I said, I can get you leads if you're interested. And then there was a company up in the northwest, a very successful mortgage company, I won't name them, and the owner asked me to go and see him, and he says, what's this you're talking about? I says, I can get you these leads. And I give him information on the sheet what I'd be able to give him. I says, what would you pay me for every lead? He says, oh, how about £100? He says, and then if they sign up an extra 250, I'm like, yeah, I'll have that. I'll have some of that, like under the table. I'm like, yes. So I did that, and then because I was getting so much leads for him, I was earning quite a lot of money. And then he rung me like a week in. He says, I think we're paying you too much. I went, yeah, you're probably right. And he put it down to 50 quid, which it was still really good money. Anyway, I was getting these appointments for the qualified mortgage advisors, and then I saw the mortgage advisors that were going out and they earned a really good wage. Again, this is before the big credit crunch in 2007, you know, when Northern Rock went under and all that, and it was mainly subprime mortgages. There was a lot of money to be earned in subprime mortgages. So I thought, I want to be one of these advisors. So there's a test you could take. It was called CMAP, to become a mortgage advisor. And you'd take it at the driving test centres. It was done on a computer, and it was like multiple, it was difficult, but it was multiple choice. And you'd pay something like 100 quid a time, 150 quid to sit this test. And I just kept taking it and failed, and tried to memorise all answers. Oh, that's Helly Bob's phoning me. I need to finish this story. Can I phone you back in a sec, babe?
Yeah.
All right,
yes,
darling.
Lou.
Love you. Bye.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. What were I saying? I just kept taking it, and eventually I passed this test and I became a qualified mortgage advisor. and then I were earning even more money. It were crazy money I were earning then. And I'm not bragging about that, by the way. I was a dickhead, right? And then I thought I wanted to go one step further. I want my own mortgage company. So I set up on my own, and I made a serious amount of money. The only problem is this was just a few months before the credit crunch, and I earned so much money in the first few months. I thought, I'm going to be really wealthy. I want to be a millionaire here. And I think we rushed into getting a massive house and the flash cars and stuff. I mean, I were on the verge of getting a Lamborghini. And I'm not saying this to make me look, but you need to know I was a dick. I couldn't drink beer then. It had to be champagne. It had to be Bollinger. Do you know what I mean? I didn't even like it. And you're putting on this show because it's just what other people think about you. And then credit crunch come, and it was just like the tap was suddenly turned off, and I'd got zero income, absolutely zero income, and all these outgoings for these cars and this house and this expensive lifestyle that I had. And it's like a house of cards. It was all my own fault. Not all my own fault. I mean, you know, there were lots of businesses went under. But I went from that, from earning incredible amounts of money, to nothing, and having to I set up something where I'd go around charity shops, and when they were selling books, they'd rotate them, and if they'd got books that they couldn't get rid of, I used to take them off the hand. Some of them I used to pay them. I used to have these big sacks what I'd drop off, and I'd just have a round going round with these with me. I think it was an estate car I had, just filling with bags of books, and I used to sell them at market. You know, like you see these book traders at market, and it was like £5 for a pack, whatever it was, Mills and Boons and all that sort of stuff. And I used to earn about £80–90 a day, so it were a massive come down, but it was to survive really. What did I do after that? I can't remember. I've had lots of jobs, sales jobs. I got into IT. I did web design. I did IT for a company in Leeds, and that were all right, but I walked out on that. Then I've always, while all this were going along, I'd always like dealing antiques and stuff, and I just sort of got into that more full time. Did eBay and all that sort of stuff, auctions. I'd buy in one auction and sell in another and stuff. I had a website, and then YouTube came along, so I'm like a jack of all trades, me. Sorry that I rambled a bit, but it's some information for you there. Gina Buttery, hi James, well you look way better with age, I have to say. You said in your last Q&A you do part 2, and you answered my question in part 1. Thank you, so I'll be thinking of another for part 2. I know I need to do that part 2. How about getting started, buying a van, fitting it out, etc. That's where I am at. Got permission from the wife, but unsure what to buy, where to start. Not going to be full time, more weekends and working away. That's Alistair Peary. Do you know what? There's far better channels than mine for that sort of information. I get accused of not doing enough van life on my channel, but I just do what I do. There's that, what's he called? That, is it Greg Virgo? His is a really good channel. Watch his for doing vans up. What would I get if it were me? I would get a Fiat Ducato, or I like Peugeot vans. This van has been so good to me, but so I'd look at bigger versions, like is it a Boxer? I'd look at that type of thing. People said don't bother with transits, then other people said do get a transit. I know Sean loves Sundays, had problems with his tranny, hasn't he? Fitting it out, there's just so many tutorials and stuff. Like I said, if I don't get a motorhome and I get a van, I'm going to get something part done or already done and just change it, because it's a long job and I ain't got time to do it. James Tarantino Gregory, Trying to find somewhere to go for my 50th next year, considering Barcelona, so hopes there'll be some videos. Yeah, there will be some videos from there, mate. Nigel Hart, I would go for a pint with you. That is, I wonder what that meant then. Jackie Hannah Hepburn, Whit Woo. Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Looking forward. It's just been a massive ego massage, this post. William Watson, at first glance, I thought this was a picture of the late Alan Rickman. Yeah, he was a good actor, wasn't he? Paul Watcott, talk about why can't people see that Biden and Putin are not the originals? Conspiracy. I like a good conspiracy, but I think a lot of conspiracies are just stupid. We were talking about this in the pub last night with mates. Because there's some people that just believe every single conspiracy. There's some compelling ones, and I'm on a page, I don't know if you go on Reddit, there's some good conspiracy stuff on there. So, but a lot of it, people just make stuff up, and it comes from a place of like, I want to know something what nobody else knows, and I want to feel special and that. Chris, hello Chris. I won't try to pronounce your name, mate. It's Guichard. Chris Guichard, but he's a good. I talked a lot to Chris, and he's told me to talk about what it means to you to be a Yorkshireman. I think, yeah, I don't know. Yorkshire people, they're down to earth and straightforward, and they're straight talking. That's it. They're friendly, but it's like I said, loads of friendly people. You know, it's just what you know, it's where you're from, it's how you're brought up. They don't put up with any nonsense, do they? Yorkshire folk. They're like, get up. I remember that just, what are you on about? I remember my dad when I played football, I banged my head. And my dad used to, bless him, my dad had watched every game that I'd play, home and away. I'll tell you what a good man my dad was. I mean, we were fairly poor growing up. And something that will stick with me till the day I die is that I'd got no football boots, and I'd got a match for school, and it were away, you know, where you go on a coach. And I had to borrow some trainers, and at school gates, my dad had turned up and he'd been and bought me some football boots. And he's such a good dad, my dad, and I just want to be like him, if I can be. I get emotional thinking about it. But he was a straight talking Yorkshireman, and it's like the most loving, kind man you could ever know. But he's, God, I'm talking like he's not here anymore. He's still alive, my dad, and very healthy. But yeah, I remember him watching me play football, and I banged heads. I went to head ball and I got concussion. I'm laid on the floor like you do, writhing around in agony. And I just always remember my dad saying, bloody hell, get up. It's now up with you. And that's Yorkshire, isn't it? Why do I call Becky the golden child? It's just banter, that. Because she's like, she's done well for herself, our Becky. And when it's like my mum or dad's birthdays or it's Christmas, I'll get him like a pair of socks, and I'll Becky, oh, tea for two at the Ritz, and I'm like, oh, chuffing hell, how am I supposed to compete with that? But it's all, I love our Becky dearly. It's just it is banter. She's had an amazing life. She's just like, oh, you know, financial advisor, pilot, do you know what I mean? Make you sick. Do you feel uncomfortable when you're down south? And he's put, I do, because he's a southerner. He does when he's up north. I don't know. I don't now. I would have. You know, like, first time you go to London, it's like, I don't want to go to bloody London. It's like a different country, London. Oh, they're all completely different people. Do you feel different to a I can't say that word. Lancastrian. No, they're the same as us. They're very similar. People from Burnley and Bury and Blackburn and Bolton, they're all the same as Barnsley people. It's all bees, isn't it? Have you noticed? We're all the same. And is there still like rivalry between the White Rose and the Red Rose? I don't think there is. It's just banter. It's just when it's cricket or football. Football, it's like Yorkshire, Yorkshire, and they sing the Lancashire songs. It don't mean no. Does the Yorkshire accent change from city or area? Absolutely. I can tell a different area. I think the Barnsley accent's the most broad, and I don't have a broad accent. The Sheffield is completely different accent to Barnsley, and the Barnsley people call Sheffield as D-Dars because they pronounce the D's more. And then you get sort of North Yorkshire, it's a bit posher, and that it's hard to explain. We should do a video on Yorkshire words. Anthony says no hair suits you, thank you. Alison says I look better now. Jane says a wedding for Helly Bob. She don't want it. I'd marry her tomorrow. It's her that don't want it. Diana's put, is this from when you were a male model? No, it's not. I love to hear you complaining. You're like a younger Victor Meldrew. I love Victor Meldrew. I love complaining. Everybody loves complaining. You have sorry, that's Diane. This is Marion Nixon. You have so much more confidence now. It's great to see. Is Helly Bob's going with you to Barcelona? Of course she is, absolutely. I won't go without her. Don't be the same without her. Becky says, Becky Hassett, you've aged well, thank you. Colin Hall, enjoy your trip. We'll look forward to the vlog. John Slim Dunn, watch your wallet on La Rambles. I've heard a lot of stuff about that with pickpockets. They ain't going to pickpocket me, I'll tell you. I shouldn't say that because it'll probably happen now, but I can give off a presence and I'm very cautious. Sean Kynaston, you just need piercing blue eyes and get a job as bake-off judge. Look-alike. I've been told that I look like, when I had hair, I look like him off bake-off. But what's he called? You know what I mean, anyway, bake-off bloke. But I'll tell you what, I think I look more like Razor Ruddock. I've had that a bit as well. Colette McCall, great show, thank you. Linda Edmonds, I love it that you mix things up a bit. You don't look any older. Suit having no hair. My son has just had a hair transplant in Turkey. What about Q&A? I keep saying, where does he do his dishes? Where do I do my dishes? Well, I have got a bowl and I boil a bit of water and there's not many dishes. I'll make a sandwich, do you know what I mean? In fact, most of the time, I just wipe my knives and forks with a wet wipe. There's hardly ever got dishes. It's just like, if I've cooked something in pan, it's pan. And as I said, I've got a bowl with some water, boil a bit of water, put a bit of fairy liquid in, scrub it, put it outside. But it's, yeah. Mario Nixon, have I had one from you? I don't know. Do a live stream. I'm going to. I will, I promise. Phil Field, I thought you were showing us how to edit videos. Yeah, I'm going to do that, I promise as well. But then Ian said politics or religion. So I've had people saying they don't want any politics, and I've got people saying they do want politics. Politics. Helen says don't do politics. Oh, I've said a bit, haven't I? I think they're all full of crap. I think they all care about themselves. All I want is somebody that's going to put this country first, that's going to protect our traditions and our heritage, and that's going to let us feel proud again to be British. That's where I'm coming from. And religion, I've talked about being a cultural Christian. I'm not necessarily believing supernatural, but again, I love traditions, and we should protect our Christian heritage, because I used to be a real hardcore atheist, and I'm a bit ashamed of how I was, because I was a bit just dismiss everybody. It's like a bit, oh, I know more than everybody else, because I've read Bible loads of times. I've even read Quran. I got into a bit of a thing. I was really into Christopher Hitchens and Richard Dawkins and all that sort of militant atheism. But now I think each to their own, and I respect people. I mean, you never know, but I certainly think we should preserve our culture and identity. And I don't care what religion anybody is. And I think you should be free to practice your own religion as long as it doesn't infringe on other people's rights, And also, I don't believe that there should be laws to stop people criticising certain religions. When that comes in, it's the start of the end, as far as I'm concerned. You should be free to criticise any religion. That's my religion and politics. Adam Seagrave, how much? Oh, just while I'm on that, I know some people that are so-called born-again Christians, and the most horriblest people I know. How do you know what I mean? They're the most bigoted, unloving, selfish, just nasty people. But then they go on about their Christian values. You know, as I said, to me they're not true Christians. A true Christian is somebody who believes quiet to themselves. And I think those people, they just say they are, and it's to sort of absolve themselves of any... It's like forgiving themselves. Oh, but I'm a Christian. Well, you're not. You're just spouting hate. Sorry. Adam Seagrave, how much have you saved not living a conventional way so far? Well, Adam, I've saved a bloody fortune, because you think what my rent were. It was like 950 quid a month. Then there was council tax, TV, water, gas. I was paying... I don't know. I bet I've saved 1,500 quid there. So it's brilliant, and it lets me do all these trips and everything. Best thing I've ever done. I know it's not for everybody. I wouldn't do it if I'd got... I have got kids. I wouldn't do it if I'd got kids with me full time. My daughter loves this van. Another about Yorkshire. Chris Morris, I think you should talk about Yorkshire and why it's God's own county. Mention all the amazing places it has along with all the impressive buildings and architecture. And then discuss the success of many of the sporting greats. That is good. That's a good idea for a separate video, that, Chris, I think. I have got an idea what another subscriber gave me. He pointed a book out to me. And it's about lost places in Yorkshire. And it's really interesting. So I'm going to make a video on that. But that's going to probably take me some time to do. Brian Donachie, talk about insurance, how that changes with the van. Yeah, there's plenty of companies. What was that one everyone goes on about? Adrian Flux. There's a few companies, and just tell them you know, motorhome insurance. I don't know what you want me to talk about really. I pay £60 something a month. It's a lot, isn't it? But it is what it is. Ash Van Baseman, SWOT analysis. Talk about your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Is that... So it's like a thing, isn't it? What they do for businesses, that. Your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities and threats. My strengths is my stoicism. My weaknesses, chocolate. Opportunities. YouTube opens up a world of opportunities, or it is doing, it seems to be. So I'm very excited about that. And threats. YouTube going tits up, then I'm screwed. Or changing algorithm. You're the slave to the algorithm. That's the worrying thing. It does stress me out, because they can just change stuff and all of a sudden you're not getting any views. Jane Williamson, talk about future plans, where you wanted to go with or without Helen. Have you thought... Well, I've answered that. Have you thought about taking the van to Europe? Love your videos, James. Thank you, Jane. Yeah, I'm going to take the van to Europe, but probably not this van, because mileage is getting really high. And you know, like, it's never brought down. Touch wood, there's no wood. But I can't help but think if I went on a really long journey, it might break down. I'm just a pessimist, aren't I? Sasha says, aging like a fine wine. Thank you. Thank you very much. Future plans, I've touched on them. Mark Jackson, could talk about a bigger vehicle. I've talked about that. Damien Hodgson, talk about stoicism. Yeah, it's funny. I've talked about stoicism. It's a philosophical belief. A lot of people know it now. I turned to it about 15 years ago when I'd gone through the separation with my son's mum, and it was some of the darkest times, and stoicism, it's just always been there for me. I feel very passionate about it. I think it should be taught in schools. and it's got certain mantras that you live by. You can never be the perfect stoic because we're all human beings and we all have emotions. But there's certain sayings. In fact, I've got a book in back. Wait there. I ain't got a book in back. I thought it were in back. My favourite book ever is by Marcus Aurelius, and it's called Meditations. Marcus Aurelius was a famous Roman emperor, and he wrote down his private thoughts. And that was at the beginnings. He didn't invent Stoic philosophy, but he was one of the first Stoics. And he wrote down all his thoughts about it, and it's like just all quotes. I wanted to read them because I've got them all highlighted and I can't remember them now. I'll try and think of some off the top of my head. Rather than talking about what a good man is, just be one. Sounds a bit crap, that, doesn't it? But it's all about action. I'll tell you what, one thing that's always stuck with me about Stoicism, and he had a quote, and I can't even begin to remember what it was, but he talked about when he had a lamp, and he had his lamp stolen, and he said, well, what is that to me? That is like an inconvenience, having my lamp stolen, but the person that took it, they have become a thief. They are now a thief. And I've always thought about stuff like that. That's why I've never stolen anything in my life, and at least I don't think, not intentionally anyway. But because I think if I nicked something, if I stole something, I'd be a thief, wouldn't I? That's who I am. That's what I've got to reconcile, that I am a thief. And it's same in relationships. I'm getting all a bit high and mighty here, but if you cheat on a partner, you're an adulterer. Is that who you want to be? Somebody who commits adultery, a cheat? You're a cheat if that's what you do. So that's a sort of Stoic thing. It's about living a virtuous life, even if there's nobody around there to see it. It's about things that happen to you, they don't cause you any heartache. It's how you think it. It's how you deal with it in your head. Everything's in your head. You know, the thing in itself is just a thing that's happened, but it's how you interpret that. And then there's certain things that are outside of your control. You have no control over that. And there's things that it's like, I often talk about aging, getting old. And a lot of people hate aging, and they talk about dying one day and stuff, but that happens to absolutely everybody, and you just accept what life gives you. That's your fate, and you have to accept what the universe gives you. You're not special. You're no more special than all the billions of people that have walked on this planet. So, and it's very much about sort of playing your part in the universe, and that's why I'm a believer in community, and I hate sort of like narcissism and, you know, like me. I hate people that are selfish and don't consider other people. But then hate's a strong word. I don't mean I hate them, but I don't like it. I think we should always consider those around us, because we're all part of, I don't know. But whenever something, hard times fall on me. Oh, I'll tell you what. I think I've got some quotes on my phone. I have some he says, what I look at. Yeah, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but we care more about their opinion than our own. You know, it's like, I think about that a lot with trolls. I think, why do I care what they think? Who cares what goes on in that random person's head? You know, it don't mean nothing to me. And then I've got this one here, and it's from Epictetus. It was not Marcus Aurelius about the lamp, but it's old language, so you have to interpret it. It's, this is how I came to lose my lamp. The thief was better than I am in staying awake, but he acquired the lamp at a price. He became a thief for its sake. For its sake he lost his ability to be trusted. For a lamp he became a brute, and be imagined he came out ahead. I'll print that up on screen. So he stole the lamp, he thinks he's come out ahead, but he hasn't. He's become a brute and a thief. So he's not ahead, is he? That's my Stoic. Sorry, I get carried away, but I do love my Stoic philosophy. God, how many more of these we've got? Lisa Gelder, you actually look better now, James. Can't wait to see you in Barcelona. Thank you, Lisa. Rob Barris, a new bigger van. Talked about that. Gerald Quinn, what are you up to this weekend? Have I talked about that? We're going to Hereford. And then probably Iron Bridge or somewhere like that. Jeanette Butler, hi James, you look great now without, about hair. Helen likes you just as you are. Keep up the great waffling videos. We're still months behind yet. Kirk says you look better now, by the way. And Leanne, hope you and Helen had a lovely weekend. And that is it. That's 130 odd. A few what same. But that were a chore, weren't it, going through all that? This is going to be the longest video I've ever made, and I don't care. It's just an experiment. Do you want more waffling? In fact, here's one for you. If you've got to the end of this video, let me know in the comments. I'm going to say a magic word, and if you put that in the comments, I know that you're a super fan. And the magic word is... The magic words are Lynx Africa. If you mention Lynx Africa, I know you've got this far and that you are hardcore. So please like and subscribe and click notifications and check your subscriptions, because I don't know if any of you have noticed, recently YouTube's been performing a little bit strange. I'm subscribed to so many channels, and I went on homepage and none of them were coming up despite them having new videos out. So I missed out, which is not good, is it? So it's good to check your subscriptions panel. Well, that was an ordeal. Just me rabbiting for so long. And I've shared with you some personal information. I hope you don't use any of that against me. I'll do one of these with Helen. I can't talk about Helen without her being here. It's up to her what she says about her life. But I hope you have a lovely rest of the evening, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, thank you very much. See you.